Hi, I'm Dr. B, sports psych and CMPC. The month of August has been really cool. A lot of variety, working with individuals, groups, getting to venture into some new areas for me. And one of the biggest things that kept coming up, regardless of the type of individual group that I was working with, regardless of whether it was sports or in the corporate environment, the theme was think outside the box. Think outside of that definition you have for that thing you want to accomplish. The example I'm going to use is leadership. Now, I have an incredible opportunity right now to work with a group of leaders for Elevate Claim Solutions. And what I love about this opportunity is it's not a do these 3 things and you're going to be a great leader. Do this one workshop and your leadership is transformed. No, you already know that's not my philosophy. Deep down inside, I'm a coach. So we're gonna introduce some topics, find ways to practice and implement them into the everyday of what we're doing, come back, evaluate, make adjustments as needed, and either continue to figure out what that thing is that's gonna help you reach the goal, or say, hey, this is great, let's keep working and implementing, but now we can add that next level. But the other thing that I enjoy is, in addition to the group workshops I get to do, I'm meeting with all these leaders one-on-one. And every single person, not just in that group, but those of you that are watching right now, you probably have a different idea of what leadership is. And that's gonna be based on your experience, whether what you've experienced personally or maybe what you've seen on TV, or for those of you that like those, sports documentaries. You're gonna have a lot of different styles of leadership. I'm not here to tell you this is the one way to do it. There's various styles that you can look at. They all have their pros and cons, some more cons than others. But what's happening when I'm having these discussions is a common thread is relationships. Now, I used to be a college basketball coach, and my boss or my head coach, when I first started this one particular job, would take me out to lunch now and then. And he told me, I want to get to know you. We need to have a relationship because at some point, I'm going to have to get on you. At some point, we're going to have a disagreement. And I want you to know that I care about you. I want you to know that I understand who you are as a person, and even if we have a disagreement, underneath it all, we're still people that care for one another. And for those of you that are in the coaching world, it's a kind of different environment. I am with my coaching staff, and I'm with my student athletes more than any other people in my life. So of course, it's really important not just to have that relationship with the head coach or the other coaches or the other trainers and administrators that are on our staff, but also with the student athletes. That's no different than in the real world, except maybe you're not spending quite as much time with each other. But what was interesting is, while we talked about relationships, maybe with some of those managers or leaders with their people that they supervise, but some of those conversations were also around relationships with themselves. And I want to be really clear. Everybody's got different things they're working on. And just because one thing's not going well or we don't feel great in this area doesn't mean we don't still go about our business and do our job. But for some people, and not just in this group, but in general, taking care of yourself, having that routine in the morning is really important, not just because you want to take care of yourself, have a healthy breakfast, get good sleep, move your body intentionally because it's good for you personally, but it also sets up the rest of your day. Now, not everybody's a morning person. Not everybody likes to have this big routine, but just that consistency, I'm doing this thing every single time before I start my day, is going to help set them up for success. And so I love those conversations that these people are aware, I need to have this part of my day to help with the rest. And it didn't just help with their workflow or what they personally were doing, but it also helped how they interacted with other people. So think about that. What's your morning routine look like? What's your pregame routine look like? Do you do anything different to prep yourself for a particularly challenging meeting or presentation? Something to think about, something we'll definitely explore further down the road. But the other piece I wanted to talk about was, again, getting outside of that box as a leader. Again, it's not saying that there's not certain tools that we need to have as leaders. Like leaders, yes, we should be able to communicate. Clearly, we should be able to articulate what it is that we want. Now, how we do that, right? That's also a nuanced piece. But there are some people that I work with that have either never really had a traditional titled leadership role, or maybe they're new to the position, and it can be a little overwhelming because, again, a lot of times we come in with this preconceived notion of this is what leadership is, this is how leadership looks, this is how leadership acts, this is how leadership runs the show. Yes, there are certain things that as leaders we probably all can agree on that we need to be good at. But I don't want you to neglect the things you're already good at. Now, I can't give a lot of details because I am bound by confidentiality, and I don't want to give any identifying markers for any of the people that I'm working with. But some people that just go, I've never been in a leadership position. I don't know what that means. So we talk about it. I ask them, what's your definition of leadership? What do you see as leadership? What do you currently do that you're like, I do that really well, this could use some improvement? But the one thing that I work with all of them on is, what do you already bring to the table? I had one client that said, I want to grow personally, professionally. We kind of talked about that, right? That personal piece. But I also want to help my people grow. And if we just have this little box that we say, this is leadership, this is what it must be, it must all fit into this box, we can miss the things we bring to the table that are good leadership. For example, this person has hobbies outside of the job that are geared towards helping people in various ways. Listening, communicating, being able to have a calm demeanor when working with these people because they're going through challenging things. That client's building relationships. That client is showing, I care about you. She may not be saying, oh, this is exactly how we're going to grow in this area today, but she's helping them find their path. And that's a big part of growth. Having a direction, having an idea of where you're going. So with this particular client, I was like, you do this really well. You're communicating, you're building relationships, you're showing empathy to people. Heck, that sounds like some great leadership stuff right there. Again, not saying we're not going to work on anything else, but when we talk about leadership, when I'm having these conversations, a lot of it comes down to, these are things I've never done before. I'm either have never been a leader, or I just haven't been with this company very long, or there's a lot of different changes and I'm not sure what's going on. Take a breath and think, what are the things that I do well? What's important? Relationships are absolutely important. Again, the relationship with yourself and relationship with others. The majority of my conversations around leadership over the past month, and not just with this one group, but believe it or not, I have other people that want to work on their leadership skills. It's saying, okay, what do you do well? Where are your strengths? How can we help you transfer that into this particular role or this particular situation? Now, yes, it sounds a little bit like just positive psychology and just focus on the strengths. And that has its weaknesses too, I'm not going to lie. However, what my philosophy is, let's have you reframe. Let's have you rethink about this box that you've created yourself. And let's open it up a little bit. Let's think outside that box to set you up for success. Because part of what we're talking about is what? Confidence. It's the confidence to have those tough conversations. The confidence to go, hey, we need a better system. The confidence to go, I never thought of that. That was a great idea. So when we talk about taking those things that you inherently do that are part of you, that in some ways are second nature to you, let's figure out how we can make that work in this setting. Because what we're going to do is get you to feel confident, to feel comfortable, to get reps. And again, I'm a coach. So we're putting together a plan, and I'm following up with everyone saying, hey, how's it going? Are there any challenges? Are we just wins, wins, wins? What's happening? Because we have to be able to evaluate and go, yes, this is working, or no, this isn't. And then we'll adjust, and it's not a big deal. We got to figure it out. Now, if people are saying, hey, things are going really well, this is amazing, because again, they're kind of using a skill they already have. It just looks a little different in some situations. Now we're building more confidence in our leaders. So now when we go to those tougher conversations of, I really don't do this well. Okay. We know you can lead. This is just one tiny part of leadership. So let's build on that. Going back to last week, if we looked at that confidence training periodization, Dr. Robin Veely, that's what we're talking about. It's just like strength and conditioning, where we have different cycles and we're putting things together, because we can't just throw all the things at you or do the most advanced things or go from, 2 plus 2 to geometry or algebra. We need to build on the foundations to continue to grow and to be able to get more complex and nuanced in what we're doing. So that was probably the biggest highlight of my August. Again, it was a lot of leadership talk, but I thought it was a really important conversation to have. And maybe it's not leadership for you. Maybe it's something else. But my challenge to you would be, what's the thing that's getting in the way? Is it because you just put this in a box and you can't envision anything else fitting into it? What are the things that you're good at that you can bring into that box, that you can break the box with, to really hone your skills and become more confident in those areas? And if you're not sure at all how to go about that, DM me. I got you. Mindset matters.